set up the other colors better.
Fair. Yeah.
Adventurous Impulse! Green. Sorcery. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature or land card among them. Put to your hand. The rest in the bottom of your library in any order. Alright, we've seen a million of this type of card.
Agree. Yeah.
Generally, the best use for them is to mill, but this one doesn't mill.
Right.
You know, like the...
I mean, we've seen like Oath and this type of effects be very good and constructed. Like, just finding a land is good. This one just finds lands and creatures, so it doesn't find planeswalkers.
Right. Normally they either see more than 3 cards, or can find more types, or mill you. I feel like all the numbers on this are like the worst we've seen. It's a sorcery, it only looks at 3, and it can only find a creature or land.
And it's still, like, slightly playable. Like, definitely limited.
I wouldn't be surprised if people played it, but I feel like it's probably not good. Like, you have Commune with Dinosaurs and stuff if you want that type of, like, pseudo lay of the land effect that can sometimes have more value. There's, like, way better ways to do it.
Yeah, that's completely fair. I guess I was thinking more in, like, the limited aspect. But, yeah, it's also worse than Commune with Dinosaurs.
Yeah, exactly. If you ever miss with this thing, like, you're gonna never play it again.
Correct.
Yeah, I think I agree with Kendi. You could probably play this card in limited. It's probably fine as, like, your 17th land or something, or 17th and a half land, something like that.
I mean, if you have more than, like, 4 spells...
Yeah, this card does kind of turn into badness.
It gets
Yeah.
real bad if it's, like, a basic land and 2 things you can't take. Like, that's not a good card.
I agree.
Alright, Ancient Animus. 1G, instant. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. If it's legendary, then it fights target creature and opponent control. So it fights no matter what, and you get a +1/+1 counter on it if it's legendary. It's weird that those are reversed, because normal templating, they would be the other way around. But they don't want people to mess up state-based effects, so they put it in this order just so that you know, even if you don't know how state-based effects work, you still put the +1/+1 counter on before the fight.
Yeah.
That's weird.
I agree. I agree. It's a little weird, but yeah, I mean, I'm fine with it as a fine limited removal spell or whatever.
Yep.
Fighting is good.
Isn't that exactly Pounce, but with upside?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's just like Pounce plus.
Yeah.
Not really much else to say about this type of card.
Yeah, common. Probably one of the better green commons. Moving on.
Probably.
Arbor, armament. Put a +1/+1 counter on... Oh, instant for G. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. That creature gains reach until end of turn. Oh yeah, Scooter in the chat points out this order does matter because +1 on the power for the fight.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you get the counter before the fight if it's legendary.
Right. Its toughness doesn't matter what order it's in, but the power does. So this thing seems fine. Good limited combat trick. Not ever going to be constructible, but...
Agree.
1-mana tricks are... very good in the way that Magic is designed these days. It depends on, like, if the format is like all Grizzly Bears and Horned Turtles, it's not going to be good. But if it's like 2 2s, 2 3s, and 3 2s, and 4 4s, you know, all matching up against each other, and 2 4s and stuff, then it'll be quite good.
I can agree with that.
Baloth Gorger, 2GG for a 4/4. Kicker 4. If it was kicked, it's a 7/7.
Yeah, I think this is obviously good limited card.
Yep.
Yeah, just one of those classic, like, very good limited cards. Good in the mid game, great in the late game. Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly what you want in a Magic card.
Yep.
You remember Kavu Primarch?
Yeah.
That was a card. It's basically this card, but with Convoke.
Well,
Yeah.
It's a 3/3 instead of a 4/4, but yeah.
What were they thinking? With
Convoke is
some of these cards?
Convoke is a hell of a mechanic in limited.
I mean, it was just it just seemed like it just seemed like there were some cards there, like, what can we do with Convoke? And then someone just let Sprout Swarm out as a common, and like, hell broke loose.
That's a damn shame too, because otherwise the mechanic's pretty. Like Cord is like good. It's like highly competitively costed, but balanced.
Yeah.
And Sprout
like
Swarm was just.
You could even make arguments for like the naturalize effect that had Convoke. Like,
Sundering Vitae.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can make arguments for that type of card. You can make arguments for Kavu Primarch because it was kind of sweet to be able to like kick it, super early if possible, but sometimes not. But yeah, man, then he just
Sprout ruined it all.
They did. It's just
Chat pointing out this would be a rare 10 years ago. Absolutely.
I agree.
It would be like a constructible rare 10 years ago.
Yeah, we were talking about the days of Ravenous Baloth when that card was just like the BL.
Yeah.
It was just, yeah. Anyway.
LOL.
Yeah.
Broken Bond, 1G sorcery. Destroy target artifact or enchantment, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. So sorcery speed naturalized, but you get an explorer. This card's weird because normally when you're like killing something that you like sideboarded this in for, it's way later in the game. You know, it's like some equipment or some like 6-mana artifact bomb or a pacifism on your 5-drop, right? Like you're not really casting naturalizes on turn 2 in too many formats. I mean, modern, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, this would be like a okay sideboard card for Valakut in modern, but what are we talking about?
Yeah, they can just play like Beast Within and stuff. Like the power level's not there.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just not there at all.
Always fine to have naturalized effects abound, though, for standard sideboards, so they can have a release valve in case they mess up on say a vehicle being too strong or two.
Yeah.
Corrosive Ooze. Grizzly Bear. Whenever it blocks or becomes blocked by an equipped creature, you destroy the equipment. This is Acidic Swamp Ooze. This is a Hearthstone card.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, basically. But it's a 2-mana 2/2, so like good cost, great for limited, has a little upside. Okay, I'm in, but like we're not talking anywhere if they're constructed at all. So
yeah, I
agree.
On to the next.
Agreed. Elfham Druid, 1G for an O2, tap add G, or tap add GG for kicked spells.
Okay. Sweet.
Okay, yep. I'm on board with this. I'm glad it's an uncommon.
Mana dorks are exceptionally good in limited now. They didn't used to be like worth a lot of slots in a lot of the formats, but like we're talking about, the 4 and 5 drops are just so good and so outclass the early drops that like they can print an O2 mana elf and you'll happily play it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
And I guess this is I was gonna say this is a keep an eye on kicked spells going forward, I guess.
Basically, yeah, I was gonna say like the fact that it has like a slight upside where, I mean, I saw a couple of green spells. We already saw one kicked spell earlier, the Baloth.
Yeah, this card's obviously exceptional with the Baloth because like it lets you turn 3 a 4/4 or get a discount on your 7/7.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just a very, very good card.
Alright, Fungal Plots, 1G enchantment. 1G, exile a creature card from your graveyard, create a 1/1 green sapling creature token, sacrifice 2 saplings, gain 2 life, draw a card. This card is historically very good in limited. I'm thinking of the green-black one. You could target both. Necrogenesis.
Necrogenesis, yeah.
That card was exceptional in limited, and even saw some fringe like sideboard standard play. Like it was your anti-wrath effect in your green-black mid-range deck.
Sure. Yeah. I mean that makes sense. I remember we looked at a couple of cards, specifically like the green-black Guy that you could like pay. I think it was 4 mana to make Saprolings or whatever. So
yep.
We're kind of starting to see the theme develop there. So maybe there are enough. I mean, we kind of joked around about it, but maybe there are enough moving forward. I guess we'll check it out.
Yeah, I mean, this second ability,
another thing to watch as we're going.
Yeah, exactly. This second ability is actually legitimately attractive if you can make saplings, even remotely efficiently.
Yeah, the second ability is super interesting.
Because what you use these tokens for is chump blocking anyway.
Right. Yeah, but now you're not just drawing like one card by chump blocking. You're drawing 2 and
yeah.
So,
you're drawing like 2.2 cards or something like that. It's like
exactly.
So worth the price of admission. Gaia's Blessing.
Yeah, exactly.
What?
Ooh.
Gaia's Blessing is in this set?
Sure.
Yeah, little reprint.
This is a weird reprint. This was a weird reprint when they stuck it in Time Spiral as like a flashback card. Now it's legitimately like new frame printed. That's bonkers.
Yeah, this kind of makes me think that there's a reason for this. Obviously, like I believe most of the people that play now had no idea that this card was a reprint for sure.
I wouldn't doubt that. I guess I should read it off then. Sure. 1G, target player shuffles up to 3 target cards from their graveyard into their library, draw a card. But if this is ever put into your graveyard directly from your library, then you shuffle your whole graveyard into your library.
Yeah.
So there's basically 3 modes of this card. It's the least common one is just like a cantripping way to mess with their graveyard a little bit. The second most common way is actually the most complicated, so I'll save it for last. The third is in like an Oath of Druids deck. You use this to purposefully mill it so that you put your whole deck back instead of decking right away. The second one is let's call it the Baron Blessing, because the Baron is the deck that Adrian Sullivan made in like '98 that utilized Gaia's Blessing, and it's essentially, and then when it was time shifted in Time Spiral, there was a Mystical Teachings deck that played it. But basically, you play a control deck that's just like all protection and wraths and like not even a lot of counters, just like a lot of it's like a tap out control deck with a ton of card drawing. So the way that you play that deck is like you use your wraths and removal, and then you draw a ton of cards, and then you use that new spurt of removal, and you use Gaia's Blessing to shuffle all of your insane card draw spells and tutor targets back into your deck. So you could Mystical Teachings for Tendrils of Corruption, Tendrils of Corruption something for 8, and then you need to gain some more life, but you're out of Tendrils of Corruptions. Oh no, well, you plan for that in deck building, Gaia's Blessing it, and then search for another copy.
Right, yeah, I mean, it was just a super long grind fest of Value Town.
Yeah. And then your second Gaia's Blessing shuffles in 2 draw spells and the first Gaia's Blessing, and you just keep going like that.
Right, yeah, you obviously loop the blessings. Yeah.
All of your lands are in play, and your deck is just all spells.
It's just all high quality.
Theoretical, yeah.
It obviously never got that far. People just were like, yeah, I can't.
Yeah,
I can't stop you.
Once the threat density in your deck is such that they just can't catch up. I guess a better example, instead of having to give a fucking history lesson, I could have just said, remember how Elixir of Immortality worked in Sphinx's Revelation decks? That's what Gaia's Blessing did, but you needed to play 2 of them.
yeah, you just had to play 2, and it was a little weird, and it also just...
You had to splash it in your blue-black control deck.
Exactly, I was going to say, it wasn't even in green decks, it was like, yeah, I'm just playing this other deck, but here's my Gaia's Blessing. Yeah, no, I'm with you for sure. It seems like a weird reprint. Makes me think that there's probably a reason. You know, maybe they just wanted some sort of other, like, sort of Scarab God or, like, you know, Phoenix or something.
Ooh, it is cute against Scarab God.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Godspell Gift and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But
it's like not that good against Godpharaoh's Gift, though, right? It's like
okay.
Kind of okay against Gate, but not very good against Gift.
Yeah.
Yeah, once the Gift's in play, obviously, because Blessing's a sorcery, so. Yeah. I'm excited to see what happens with that card.
The problem is, the Baron usage is like the best usage for it.
Well, there was Divination as a reprint, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say there's not a critical mass of card draw spells because there's like the 4 mana draw 2s don't get it done. The card draw that was used in this thing with the Mystical Teachings deck was like Careful Consideration and the Aeon Chronicler. Like you were drawing a ton of cards for a 1-card investment to turbo through your deck.
Yeah.
And I don't think that those exist anymore. Like, Inspiration, like, getting to play 8 Inspirations is not enough to Baron somebody.
Sure. I mean, we can see if there's a new... I think there is a new blue card drawing spell.
Okay,
it's
hopefully
like
we'll...
5-mana Concentrate or whatever.
Would Pull from Tomorrow work in this style of deck? Absolutely. That's, like, the exact card that you would play with this.
Yes.
Yeah, Pull for Tomorrow could be the Sphinx's Revelation or looking for this
Yep.
card.
All right.
I definitely would not mind looping some Sphinx's Revelations, but, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Living the dream.
That's why Elixir was, like, so insane. You know, to the amateurs, it's like, why would you play this card? But, like, to the Andrew Cuneos of the world and the Adrian Sullivans of the world, they're like, I've been begging for this card for 15 years, you know? Like, it just does it all by itself.
Yeah, I get to like gain some life and reminisce.
Yeah.
Yeah. All sorts of good stuff going on there.
One of my favorite of my Moto photos was like I mulligan to 6 and keep and get Thoughtseize, and my hand is the 1 Aetherling and the 1 Elixir of Immortality. And they took the Aetherling. And so I just won easily. You just take the other one, I probably can't win.
Right, yeah. Obviously, you're just like, well, now I have to win with this Aetherling. Otherwise,
that's stuck in my hand until turn 8.
Yeah, but 35 minutes from now, I'm going to get you if you took Aetherling.
Yep, and that's what happened.
That's exactly what happened, yeah.
Gaia's Protector, 3G for a 4/2, must be blocked if able. Sweet limited card.
Yep.
Good.
Never
cool effect on a common.
Yeah.
Not much more to say about it.
Yeah.
I do like the move from, like, Lure is not fun. From either side, Lure is not fun. But this Provoke thing, it's not quite Provoke, but you know what I mean. I like that ability a lot.
Fucking Provoke.
Yeah, Provoke was not great either. But this is like, interesting from both sides, right? Cards that have this text.
Yeah, like, they have a choice of what to block with.
Right, and you're trying to make it so that they have to block with their like best guy, and they're trying to make it so that they have like a second thing back, so they don't have to, you know, like there's a lot of gamesmanship to it. I like it.
Yeah, they just like have to leave their bear back, and they can never like play like a 5-drop into this, right?
Yeah,
they can play like a 4/4 and attack you with their like evasion 2/2.
Yeah, they got to leave everything back, and like sequence their threats weird. Gift of Growth, 1G. Untapped target creature gets +2/+2. Oh my god, I got bits. Slurms Mckenzie. Slurms Mckenzie 8. Why, thank you.
That was definitely not me.
I was gonna say we got an E Mckenzie and an S Mckenzie now.
Yeah, Slurms Mckenzie.
So it's what is it? Swell of Strength? No, aim high.
Surge of Strength.
It is Surge of Strength.
You have Surge of Strength, +2/+2 on tap creature.
Yeah, and then you can kick it. 2 mana tricks are not nearly as good as
Savage Surge.
Savage Surge. Thank you. 2 mana tricks aren't nearly as good as 1 mana tricks, but the split card version, you know, of being able to go big with it is probably makes it worth it for limited. Obviously, only limited.
Oh yeah. Obviously unlimited. Yes, I think it's totally reasonable to play some combat tricks, as you were saying, making it cost 4 and having a bigger upside. It is kind of weird to me. It feels like this card should just give it trample, because it kind of just all around feels that way.
Or at least like the kicked version does, or something.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe like kick or 2, just give it another +2/+2 and trample. Something like that. Mostly because, as I said, it just kind of feels that way. It also kind of looks that way. It seems like this kind of a card.
This thing is definitely like trampling over. Like this thing is like stomping on cars and stuff.
Yeah, it's literally just like a 40-foot tall animal. Just like. It's somehow going from a grizzly bear to a 4/4 makes you 40 feet tall. I'm not really sure.
Greg wants to give the creature hexproof and then give the spell split second.
Sure, yeah.
How do you feel about that? Just give it.
See, so Greg, Greg obviously creates cards like I do, where I'm just like, no. They all have to be busted. Let them go. Like this card should only cost 1G instead of G1. Like the kicker should be, like kicker +1/+1 counter on target opponent's creature or something like that, and just like, all right, well now your creature gets +4/+4 hexproof and trample.
Yeah, that's normal rules text.
Very usual Magic card. So
grow from the ashes, 2G sorcery. Search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, not tapped. Shuffle your library. Kicker 2, if it's kicked, search it for 2 basic land cards, put them on the battlefield untapped.
So search for tomorrow, kicker 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. I don't know what we're gonna do with this, but I mean, I'm down with more rampant growth style abilities. I think we're at the moment where rampant growth is too good. Just the 2 mana sorcery rampant growth effect is just too good, and 3 mana is not quite good enough because we have so many busted 4-drops.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So we're in that weird point.
They give us elf.
Yes, but that's exactly what I was gonna say. But if we can play Lanois elf and then play this card, and we're just like super cheating.
Straight to 5.
Yeah, I mean, good lord, man. I mean, we're obviously going to get to Lanois Elves and probably spend 15 minutes on it or whatever, but like, maybe we could just say Lanois Elves is going to be busted. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, only thing I would add on this card is for limited, cards like this existing make 5-color green decks possible.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
If you don't have these, you can't really do that, and if you do have these, then like you'll be able to pick them up, and...
Yep.
They'll be very
down.
good.
Yeah, totally down with that plan. Greg makes a good point there. You can play your elf on 1, then grow from the ashes on 2, and play a second elf.
Ooh.
I mean, if you're just going to live the dream, you might as well live the dream.
Yeah. Why go to 5 when you can go to 6?
Yeah, you can just play this 6-drop. What is this guy? Run the Lonely King, the next card. 6-drop, there it is.
This is what we're
running. Oh, wait, yeah, I knew this card. I know this card. Yeah, okay. But yeah, you go ahead and read it off. Sorry.
4GG for a 5/5. Kicker 3. If Grun is kicked, it enters the battlefield with 5 +1/+1 counters on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, no matter what, it has, whenever it attacks alone, double its power and toughness until end of turn.
Very reasonable Magic card.
What the actual fuck?
Yeah, this is just going to... so this is our new dream, right? Like, we're just going to play this card on turn 3, and then on turn 4 we're going to attack our opponent for 10 damage.
This is wild, man.
Just straight up.
Legendary creature, Ape Warrior. Yep, that is good. Why not? This thing is bizarre.
It's definitely bizarre. It has a very inverse to usual kicker ratio, like kicker to power ratio.
Yeah.
Kicker 3 for 5 counters is a lot. I mean, obviously the difference between 6 and 9 is a lot, but
you're usually overpaying for like 1 or 2 counters.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we were looking
at flood protection.
Right, we were looking at the Baloth Gorger earlier, and it was kicker 4, and it only gets 3 counters. This thing is kicker 3 and gets 5 counters. So it's just kind of like, holy shit difference.
Yeah. It's insane to me that this is an uncommon. Not just because it's legendary, because I get that that's a theme, but, like, this stat line is very, like, Verdurous Gearhulk-esque.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds like a reasonable comparison. Just, like a super bomb-ass mythic green card being compared to a very casual uncommon.
Yeah.
No worries.
Yeah, I mean, this thing's probably not going to end up great anyway, just because the removal's going to be too good, but it is insane that, like...
if we're gonna live in the Conley Woods magical Christmas land, this is the kind of card I'm looking for.
Sure. The thing is, like, there's, like, the hexproof crocodile thing, right? Like, you would never play this over that.
That's fair. That's very fair. Yeah, I guess I want to like cards like this because it just seems like it'd be a lot of fun to just attack with a 20/20 or whatever. But
yeah, Carnage Tyrant is the name of that card.
yeah. I definitely I think a part of me just misses like playing with Dark Depths, and I just want to attack with it.
Yeah, just have them dead.
Yeah, it's because it's just so much fun. You're just like, well, I'll attack you for, what are you at? Oh, convenient.
It is, like, kind of a blowout that, like, you get to attack for 20 and they can chump it.
Yeah, of course.
Of all things to not have trample, the thing that attacks for 20.
Yeah, it's a 20/20, and they're like, oh, you ran into a small bird. Nope, you're done. You're done attacking now. Alright.
Kamal's Druidic Vow. GGX. Legendary sorcery. Okay. So you have to have a legendary creature or planeswalker in play to cast this.
Yes.
Look at the top X cards of your library. You may put any number of land and or legendary permanent cards with converted mana cost X or less from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest into your graveyard.
Okay, so Genesis Wave style card.
It's like a bad Genesis Wave.
Sure.
That's also harder to cast. You know what it's more like? It's more like the is it a Hydra? That's like GGX, and you can on cast you look at the top X and cast one card.
Oh.
Anybody know what I'm talking about?
I feel like I remember the art.
It was
but
super
I don't
playable.
The card.
Genesis Hydra.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I was gonna agree with Hydra.
Yeah, this feels like more like Genesis Hydra than Genesis Wave, because, like, Wave, you just get everything. And this, you only get legendary stuff?
Yeah, you get lands and legendary permanents. I mean, at least it's legendary permanents.
Yeah, you get your Planeswalker.
Yeah, we've obviously, talked about this a little, but we'll get into it more. But these legendary sorceries, you have to have legendary creatures or planeswalkers. You can't have, like, these legendary artifacts or enchantments or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it's a little more inhibitive. I definitely agree with you. This is probably just worse than Genesis Wave. Probably not going to be looking to play something like this.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
A lot would have to go right for this card to be playable.
That's fair. Yeah, you could probably figure out some sort of weirdo draft deck with it, but I don't think that I'm going to put it in my standard deck.
No, I mean, you can use it in your 5-color green deck, but
I'm down with that.
I will say it's cool to see Kamal. Like,
Yes.
I learned the rules when I was very young, and then went to a store to play, and it was the Onslaught pre-release. And then after that, I quit and I got my sideboard of my sealed deck stolen, and I went home and cried and didn't play again until many years later. But seeing Kamal's name in print again is like bringing back like 5th grade memories.
Definitely, yeah. No, I mean I remember one of the. I don't want to use the term real decks, but one of the first more competitive decks I tried to use was this, mono green biorhythm deck or whatever. So I definitely know what you mean about seeing the Kamal action come back.
Is Charlie just dead? Is he gone forever?
That is a good question.
I'm over it. Krause Druid, 2G for a 2/3. Kicker 5. If you kick it, gain 10.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of life.
It's a lot of kicker.
It's a lot of kicker. I don't know. Limited card, it's probably pretty good. In limited. Depending on how good a 2/3 for 2 or 2/3 for 3 ends up being stat-wise, like how that matches up against, you know, the other 2 and 3 drops.
Right.
This type of effect is generally quite good in limited.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could probably be down with it at some point. It's, as you were saying, it definitely depends on the size of every other creature in the format, or at least, you know, the commons.
Yeah.
To see how it lines up. And if you just occasionally get to, like, gain 10, then, you know, it's probably okay.
Yep. 10 is a messed up amount of life to gain for a common. I agree. And Greg says people are going to miss onboard lethals and then just die to this card. Pretty much.
Oh my god, I would feel
It's not even like
bad.
onboard lethals. Like, you'll have a couple mana up and they'll be like, I'll just kill for sure over 2 turns instead of risk you having something this 1 turn by alphaing. And then you'll be like, all right, untap, gain 10 and another blocker, and then like the game continues. And
yeah, even worse, they're like, why are they cracking back at me? What could they possibly have?
Yeah,
a card that says gain 10 actual life. Okay.
I dig it.
All right. Yeah,
sure. Design-wise, I also much prefer this type of flood protection rather than invokers. I like a one-time effect rather than a repeatable effect.
Okay.
Because I think repeatable effects, like if this was just repeatable, right? If this card just had 5 or 6 mana on it, gain 10, like you would play it every time. Because its front side would be
fine with early picking this card.
Right. So I hate invokers and like this one-shot style of design much better. Lanois elves.
Oh, good.
The elephant in the room. The elephant in the room.
I see what you did there.
Does that count as a joke? Well, holy shit, man. Like, birds are back. There's a reason why Bolt the Bird is a thing. Because if you don't, you fucking lose.
There's definitely going to be a lot of people learning that all over again.
It's probably better now than it has been in a while.
I could see that, sure. I mean, there's definitely a lot of things that I want to cast with Lanois Elves. Obviously, as we've been discussing, anything that we discuss involves, well, we could just play Lanois Elves and play it a turn earlier, and then the card becomes busted. Yeah. And it's because Lanois Elves is busted.
Well, yeah, creatures in general have gotten so much better, especially in the pre-drop slot, because they said they weren't going to print 1 mana accelerator.
Yeah.
Pushed. I mean, 3 mana creatures.
Yeah, they could just go for maximum punishment and just put Stone Rain in the next set.
Oh well, yeah, they
make Magic unfun again.
Yeah, they really hate us.
I would play the shit out of that deck. My first real competitive deck was straight up blue-red Magnivore. Like disallowing them from playing the game is one of my favorite things to do.
Oh sure, I mean it's fun for a little while. It's just I don't know, man.
Yes.
I almost feel like a bad person.
Greg and I remember Trinity Green, where people were like, "Oh, I'll just plow under you on turn 3, and then cast Stone Rain."
Yeah, see, I started playing right after that, but heard the horror stories of the last season after the Affinity stuff was banned. Then you would just plow under E-Witness forever.
Oh, no, this is way before then. This is
this is Plow Under's first printing.
Yeah, this is Destiny.
Saga.
Yeah,
Destiny.
Yeah, they would just play, Landlord Elf into Priest of Titania, and then on turn 3...
Plow under your 2 hands.
Plow under your 2 hands.
By the way, those are all really fair Magic cards.
All of them. Yeah, Rafellos, Titania, Landlord Elf, all completely fair, reasonable Magic cards that I'm glad they won't reprint.
Yeah, please don't.
So one of my first decks that competitive decks that I designed myself was in that Ravnica thing, and it was basically Reed Duke's Legacy deck that's just 8 1-mana accelerants, and then the 7 busted 3-drops or whatever. The True Name Nemesis and Leovold and stuff. I basically did that in Standard with the Elves of Deep Shadow and Birds of Paradise, and then you got Bob on 2, Dimir Cutpurse on 3, Hypnotic Spectre on 3, and then if you go Elf into one of those busted 3-drops, then you can go Land Jit Equip. And that curve was just unbeatable.
That sounds like a lot of very fun magic going on.
And then you have Remand too, so in addition to this huge tempo gain, you also have Time Walks.
I was going to say, did you somehow create Sword of Feast and Famine and just get to untap and do more things? I mean, why not,
Yeah, I think hitting him with a Dimir Cutpurse with a Jit equipped was enough advantage. That
No.
But yeah, Llanowar Elves, it reframes everything in terms of
absolutely
standard metagame. In addition to the obvious that we've already stated of getting your 3s and 4s a turn early, it's also really, really hard to interact profitably with it.
Yes.
You have to play 1-mana removal spells so that you can kill it before it spirals out of control. But that means that, your win case, your best case scenario is that you break even on mana and cards. The only way that you really gain advantage against Llanowar Elves is play against the deck and have the game go long enough that the elves that are in their deck are semi-dead draws, and have them draw it, and have it not do anything. That's the only real way. There's not electrolyzes and stuff running around, There aren't ways to interact profitably with the Llanowar Elves, and the downside of not interacting with it at all is you just lose. So
yeah, it also will make your mulliganing decisions very awkward sometimes, even if you have some sideboarded cards that you put in, and you have a great strategy overall. You just get undone, as you were saying, by a Llanowar Elf. It's just
if you're
those cards. You have to think about every game one that you play in Standard from now until this card rotates out of Standard. You just have to think, what if my opponent plays Llanowar Elf? That's a real thing that you have to think about every game now.
If you're on the draw and your first removal spell costs 3, you probably have to mulligan.
Yeah, you're just dead. You're well, these are 4 great spells. This is a 3, 4, 5, and 4 lands. And you're just, I'm dead. I'm going to die first, even if your removal spell costs 2 and you're on the draw, they're going to play a Llanowar Elf. If you're going to play a land, they play a 3-drop, and you play a removal spell to kill their 3-drop, I guess, maybe? Yeah. But then they play a 4-drop, and then you're just in this turn-behind scenario.
Again, even if you have a 1-mana removal spell, you have to have an untapped land on 1, or, skip your 2 to play a 1. Just so much has to go right
to break even.
To even break even, and stuff can go wrong so easily and so quickly.
Yes, definitely agree.
I will say that there's probably less late game use for elves nowadays than before, because it used to be if you drew an elf on turn 6, you could still put an equipment on it, or it would, be pumped up with the rest of your team and make your Priest of Titania add another mana or whatever. But a 1/1 is legitimately bad at a certain point in the game now, so hopefully that'll be enough to balance it out somewhat. But I'm skeptical. Even then, it lets you play a 4-mana thing, and then you draw an elf and you play a 4-mana planeswalker and a chump blocker in the form of an elf, and just use it to save 3 loyalty on your Planeswalker, which is well worth a card.
So sure. The best answers to Llanowar Elf are walking Ballista and Fanatic Firebrand.
Yeah, but Ballista, to do it profitably, is 4.
Sure.
And if you're doing it for 2, you better be on the play, and you better have an untapped land on 2. Because if you play a tapped land on 2, and they play their 3, and then you play your Ballista and shoot it, then they play another 3 and they have 2 3s, and you are on your first turn 3. And And yeah, to get it up to 4 to actually make the Ballista profitable, it's too late. Like you're in the hole too far.
Yeah, no, totally agree. I mean, Gendy did mention Fanatic Firebrand as one of the other
ways that's to deal good. With it. That's fairly good. Yes.
But I mean, even so, like again, that's still 1 mana for 1 mana, 1 card for 1 card.
The
and
best
you have
thing
to have it,
is break even. Because like Fatal Pushes and Magma Sprays, right? Like, or Shocks or whatever. So Fatal Push is legitimately good because you can trade evenly, and then your Fatal Push actually like does something later in the game. But like your Magma Spray, say you have a Magma Spray in your deck for the elves, and they just don't draw your elf, but you do draw your Magma Spray. That card is like not good. Like it's not, it's not worth 0, but that's why Fanatic Firebrand gets me excited, because it's a card you're playing anyway that then squares up against the elves. But like the people that are trying to put shocks in their deck to shock elves are just gonna lose to like blue-black control. There's a lot surrounding a meta where elves is one of the main defining factors, which it's going to be.
Yeah, of course. I don't think that anyone can actually argue that. I mean, you could try, you're just going to fail. I mean, it is a card you have to know about. It is a card that you have to think about. It is a card that will beat you, even though you think you got beat by the 3-drop or 4-drop rare. What actually happened is your opponent beat you because they had Lanois. And
that is a very good point.
That's just it, man. So I think I'm going to find myself asking that question a lot of times when people are like, hey, I just played this game, but what could I have done? I would have been like, well, you probably should have drafted something to go to kill the Lanois, because I don't think we've even really touched on this as far as like, specifically in Limited. This card is obviously good in Limited, but it's the fact that it's more good in Limited. It is
because you can't just put pushes in your deck.
Right. There's no we haven't. I mean, we're just in green, which is fine. So I will definitely reserve the blanket statements. However, I don't know of a lot of things that can just outright kill this card. Especially on an even or slightly even basis. You know what I mean? So we haven't seen a ton of that yet, but. If there's not a lot of 1-mana answers or stuff like that, and obviously this card is a common, it'll be in damn near all the packs, and it's obviously we're drafting 3 of this set. And it's just going to be annoying to deal with.
And like I said about it having diminished value later in the game, even in Limited, like doing 2 things in a turn is always good, and there are obviously things to do with this extra mana with kicker and activated abilities and stuff.
Right, exactly. There won't be a lot of, dead mana still, as you were saying. I definitely agree with that, and it's going to be something unfun to deal with. The people in the know early in the format will definitely start taking these Lanois very high. People not in the know will let them go by and then lose to them unknowingly, I think. So, we definitely want to make as many people aware of that as possible. Just make sure that you're drafting Lanois, put the card in your deck, draft some green fun dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Elvish Mystic was the best card or best green common in M15 or whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
So
at Nationals, I drafted straight mono green Stompy with a bunch of those things and just creatures.
Yeah. What else do you need?
I won. I think I 3-0'd. I might have 2-1'd, but the deck was insane.
I bet you lost because you didn't draw Lanois.
It's very possible. I think I might have mulliganed and just died.
Beta Lanois.
People do not seem to be happy about the art. I don't mind it at all.
I don't mind it. But then again, I'm not a super aesthetic dude. Sometimes I'll get a little weird about my basics, but not to the point of hating myself or whatever, like some people seem to do.
I will say that this is against their better practices now. They've said multiple times they would not print this card today because it is a singular creature with a plural name.
Okay.
So I'm kind of surprised that they reprinted it, but I guess it's Dominaria. You have to print Llanowar Elves.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been worse. They could have put Birds of Paradise in this.
Yeah,
set.
true. All right, Land War Envoy, 2G, 3/2, 1G, add 1 mana of any color.
Okay.
So the invasion one of this was just a grizzly bear, right?
Correct.
Now this one's a 3/2 for 3.
I was gonna say defer to Gindi on this one.
Yeah, it was Nomadic Elf, which is the 2 mana 2/2 version of this card. Now it's a 3 mana 3/2.
Mana is generally better than it was back then.
Yeah, and we're not like a 5-color format where we have to play mana bases that are like 6/6/5 or 6/5/5, something terrible like that. So like we're not really looking for a way to filter mana as much anymore. Generally, these types of effects are just like okay to bad. But yeah, I mean it's a solid body with the ability to like randomly filter mana to fix a color. Like if you want to splash a third color, especially in sealed, this is an easy way.
Yeah, if you're like splashing like a Doomblade type card, then this card will help you.
For sure.
If you're splashing like a Shivan Dragon type card, it will not.
Also true. Also true.
Land War Scout, 1G for a 1/3. Tap, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. So, Sakura Tribe Scout, you've probably seen in Modern, is a 1/1 for 1 that does this.
Yeah.
But we have already kind of talked about how, like, getting to 4 and 5 mana ASAP is legitimately one of the best things you can do in Standard.
Yes.
Do you think that this makes the jump?
See, the problem with these types of effects are, like, you have to have excess lands in your hand, and that's not always the case. Like, if there's a good early way to, like, say, like, a mulch of effect, then, like, Land War Scout could see some play. But if there's not a way to, like, put a mass amount of lands into your hand cheap and...
Yeah, there's no Karus to put into play.
Right, there's no Karus, there's no mulch, there's no whatever, like, you know, clear the land type of effect that we want that's going to draw a bunch of lands into our hand, like a Life from the Loam or whatever. So, yeah, I think it's just mediocre at best. It's definitely not something I'm going to see in my, like, constructed decks. Like you said, the best of these are, like, 1 mana. Cause
it's clearly fine in Limited, right? Like, you would play this thing in Limited for... I mean, its body is respectable, and the ability is huge upside. It's just a matter of whether it can make the jump to Constructed.
Well, yes. I would say, like, I would play Land War Scout in Limited if a Lumigrid Warden body is good.
Right. Or, yeah, if I'm not, like, an aggro deck that needs my 2-drop to hit.
Right. Like, if I need, like, a 1/3 blocker...
If I'm playing, like, a 17-land green deck with some 5s, you know...
Sure,
that's fair.
Yeah, 17, 18 lands with a bunch of, like, 4s, 5s, and 6s.
Yeah.
Then, yeah, ship this guy into my deck. But, like, we're playing an aggressive deck or, like, a bunch of 3s with... We want Landlord Elves, obviously. We don't really want Landlord.
Yeah. Agreed. Mammoth Spider, 4G for a 3/5 reach. So they didn't give us Giant Spider. That was one of the cards that I just assumed they would print by default. If you don't know, Giant Spider is the non-basic land that was printed the longest. It was reprinted. Originally printed in Alpha and reprinted in every core set up to like M11 maybe. Like, it was printed like a million times, and is a staple. I mean, it's been printed since then too. Like, Giant Spider is a very iconic card. So the fact that they like went with this thing is really bonkers. I thought it was like a hard mortal lock that Giant Spider would be in this set.
It definitely seems like something they would have plugged in for just simply nostalgia.
Yeah. I do like the kind of way that they're like like, hey, this isn't the card that you're thinking of, but it reminds you of it, doesn't it? Like, I do kind of like that. Yeah. M14 last. Wow.
I think what they did here, which probably makes sense, is they needed a 5-drop. Like, they needed to design a 5-drop, and they had enough on the 4s. They wanted to print Giant Spider, but they're like, we need to print it as a 5-drop. So, like, what can we do?
Giant Spider was, like, legitimately very good in Limited.
Oh, yeah. It always is.
And this one's definitely going to be worse. But definitely still good.
Slightly worse, but maybe slightly better, because we haven't really gotten to white yet, but there's a lot of, like, Sarah Angel creatures.
4 power or 3 toughness are the stats you're looking for on flyers.
Right, exactly. Like, Sarah Angel is reprinted, and there are, like, other angels, that, if I'm not mistaken, that are, like, right around the 4-4-4-3 type style of power toughness. So this card legitimately is going to be very good.
Cool. Marwin the Nurturer. 2G Legendary Elf Druid. Whenever another elf enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Tap, add an amount of G equal to its power. So, a tribal thing. So now we gotta consider all the elves. Lanois elves, obviously. These two are both elves. Those all the elves we've done? Oh, this thing. The kicker one is an elf, too.
Lanois Envoy, Lanois Scout.
Yeah. Alright, so we got a decent number of elves, and a few of them are playable.
Yeah.
This thing, on its own, on the face, it goes from 3 to 5. If you land war it, it goes from 1 to 3 to 5 on 3. I don't know. I guess it just depends on the rest of the elves, right?
Yes.
Pretty much. I mean, it also depends on what we have as far as a payoff goes, right?
True, yeah. Because if my only payoff is that GGX legendary spell, then I don't even want lots of mana. Like, you can keep it.
Yeah.
Very true.
Keep it, and let's give me a spider.
Yeah, exactly. The Mending of Dominaria. So these are sagas. I don't think we talked about these last time because
nope.
They're not in any of the card types we talked about. So sagas are enchantments that kind of play like planeswalkers. You play it and it activates the first ability on ETB. Then on your next upkeep, it activates the second ability. Your what? Oh,
no,
draw
it's
step.
not the upkeep. It's
draw step.
It's after the draw step, right?
Yeah.
It's like at the beginning of your main phase. Because there are ones that like add mana, so it's actually right after your draw step.
Okay. So once when it comes into play, once at the start of your next main phase, and then add another counter and you sacrifice it when it's done.
It's also
in the Wall of Roots phase.
It's also important to point out that they're legendary. Right?
Yes.
They are, even though they don't say it on there, I'm pretty sure because they're sagas, they're legendary.
All right. 3GG. Put the saga 1 and 2. Put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. Then you may return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. 3, return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield, then shuffle your graveyard into your library. Oh, okay. People in the chat are saying it's historic but not legendary.
Right. Yeah, it
that makes sense.
Historic. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
So this first effect has like a grapple with the past type feel to it. It's actually just straight up the Liliana Last Hope -2, right? Is literally this ability.
That is exactly what it says, yes.
So 5 mana for that twice doesn't seem great. On 3, you do get like
all land cards?
Yeah, like 2 to 5 lands in play. Again, if all I can do with that is that GGX spell, I'm not interested.
I'm not super interested in this, I think. I mean, again, unless there's some kind of, maybe like a reanimator style thing or something.
But it just goes to your hand.
Yeah, but no, that's what I was saying. Like, you can just put 2 cards, basically just mill 2 cards or whatever.
Yeah,
and like
you don't want to spend 5 mana doing that.
Yeah, I'm kind of reaching, but I'm trying. I'm not seeing it.
I mean, it
So limited, it's good, but constructed, it's gonna be like at best a sideboard card.
Fair.
Because you could like grind out like a blue-black.
Oh sure, yeah, just
blue-black
like for your
deck.
for your Bant control deck against their blue-black control deck.
Yeah, just get a couple creatures back and then randomly like
have all the mana advantage.
Yeah, jump ahead in mana and then you just like run them out of cards.
That's reasonable. I definitely don't think it's very useful on its face. You have to do something weird with it. But yeah, it's probably great and limited. Multani,
fantastic.
Huh?
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, as long as it's not like Zendikar and people are dying on turn 5,
that's very fair.
It's gonna be good.
Someone pointed out that the 3rd ability does shuffle everything else back into your library. I didn't catch that part.
All right, so that kind
that's relevant.
That kind of goes with your Gaia's Blessing Baron type of deck.
Oh yeah, it does mill the top 2 cards, so it could just Gaia's Blessing you immediately.
But you don't want that to happen.
No.
Normally not, yeah.
No, not really. But that is interesting.
But like you can just, it's weird that Gaia's Blessing is in this set because you could just use 2 of these, right? I guess not. Yep. You would deck yourself too fast. Trying to chain them.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to like actually chain them because you couldn't get to the third activation.
Yeah. All right. Multani Yavamaya's Avatar. Cool to see Multani again. 4GG. Reach Trample. Gets +1/+1 for each land you control and each land in your graveyard. 1G. Return 2 lands you control to their owner's hand. Return Multani from your graveyard to your hand. Okay.
There's a lot of interesting... I mean, the +1/+1 normally is just, for lands you control or something like that, or for cards in your hand.
Yeah, but
I do like that they're combining them. Right. I mean, obviously, I think both abilities that aren't, what do they call them? Base words or whatever.
What?
Evergreen abilities.
Yeah,
yes,
keywords.
There you go. Keywords. Yeah. Anything that isn't a keyword evergreen ability. The other 2, I think, are very interesting. I like that it gives you +1 for both. Clearly they're trying to make some sort of, combo happen with this 5-drop and potentially some other cards. The kind of self-mill plan gets some added bonus on the 6-drop guy. I kind of like that. I do think the ability for the 2 mana, you return it from your graveyard to your hand, just do it all over again. That sounds great. That ability sounds great.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, being able to grind out in limited seems fantastic.
Yeah, this card's real. This card's real good.
I mean, yeah.
I'm a little perplexed as to why it has reach.
Multani's really tall.
Well,
sure. It's a big tree, man.
Both previous Multanis have had some sort of like hexproof or
yeah, well, one of them did, and one of them just had trample, right?
I'm really glad it has trample. I don't like.
One of them had like shroud.
Yes.
And
I want to go into gathering magic instead of gatherer. There we go.
The original one just had shroud, but I'm trying to think the second one. The second one just had trample?
Let's find out together. First one had shroud. Oh, the second one was wasn't Multani. It was like his brother or some shit. Does anybody in chat know what we're talking about?
Yeah, Multani Morrow Sorcerer.
Yeah, but the other one is like a 7-drop, right? It's like 4GGG.
Yeah. It's just Mara, right? Or Maro.
No.
That's 2 GG. You're handing your cards in hand.
Right.
Yeah, there's another one that's like just equal to the lands. Power tokens equal to the lands you control.
Yeah, it costs 7, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's from like...
4. It's like from Invasion. Or no, yeah, maybe Invasion.
Yeah, I feel like it's either from somewhere Invasion block or maybe Odyssey block.
Well, I think it's...
But I know what you're talking about.
I think it's later than that, but I can't remember.
But yeah, Reach is just definitely weird to put on this card. Trample...
I think the other one that we can't remember has Reach. I think that's why this has Reach.
Molimo. That was the other one I was trying to think of.
Molimo?
Yeah, Molimo, Maro Sorcerer. It's like, trample and it's power toughness equal to the lands you control.
Yes! Oh, AJ's a genius.
Yeah, that's it. Molimo.
Precisely. So.
Here we go. It does cost 4 GGG. See, I know everything except the actual card name. And it is later. It's in 10th.
Sure. I believe you.
Oh, it's in Invasion and then reprinted in 10th.
It was Invasion.
Yeah, we did it.
We're both right.
we're all right. That's all.
Because I remember drafting this thing on Magic Online.
Yeah, just trample, no reach.
Yeah.
See, and that's what would make sense to me.
Right.
Is like trample, shroud, those types of effects. But like, reach seems very weird.
This reach is a reach.
It is.
It feels like they kind of want this card to be what's the 6/1 bug that you can discard a card and get back? Or maybe it's a 4/1.
Gigapede.
Gigapede,
yeah.
It feels like they kind of want this to be like a Gigapede type thing, but it's more like a Chrono Savant type thing.
Or Necro Savant.
Sure.
Necro Savant's kind of okay though, right? Chrono Savant is the one that you time walk yourself for a 5/5 tapped.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, Time Spiral.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like Chronotog and Necro Savant combined.
Yeah, that card is not good. Alright, Nature Spiral, 1G, sorcery. Return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Yeah, we have a couple of cards like this in history, starting in Regrowth, and then Recollect was the 3-mana one, and then they went to 2 mana for this effect.
There's also the expensive one, Restock or whatever.
Yeah, get 2 things.
No, this is an actual reprint.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but they went to this and then went away from it, and then came back to it. Whoops.
Yeah. I've tried Revive and other different effects in the past. I think they're trying to obviously play it safe with the return of permanent card on here. They don't want to return spells and not exile.
Yeah, but all the spells that you would want to loop with this thing exile themselves.
Right, that's what I'm saying. They're playing it safe with Nature Spiral because it says return a permanent card.
Yes.
To make sure that you cannot return spells with this card. Like Wilder Streams exiles itself or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, you get back a planeswalker most of the time, I guess. Some value creature. I don't know. What's a card that's so good and the diminishing returns aren't significant enough that you would want a situational 5th copy of a permanent card, right? That's really what you're looking for this to be good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it would maybe work in some of your, some of these Soul Tide decks that have a bunch of ETB abilities. Maybe, on their creatures, like Chupacabra and stuff like that.
Yeah, it would be a bunch of, ETB effects.
Yeah.
Creatures you sacrifice.
Yeah.
Returning walking with double place is about the best thing I can do.
Oh, that sounds fine. Yeah, that seems fine. I wish we had like a mole drifter up. I mean, I say that in every standard format ever.
Could always use a mole drifter.
Just get mole drifter, please.
Yeah, just every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's probably meant for sagas. That makes the most flavor sense or whatever.
And/or planeswalkers.
Yeah,
I will say in limited, if you have a legendary theme but can't fill out your legendary numbers.
Oh sure.
This can
also on legendary.
Help patch it up.
Okay.
Pierce the Sky. Not quite plummet.
Not quite. Totally reasonable sideboard card for limited.
Yeah.
And that's that.
Yep. These cards like occasionally become like one-ofs in sideboards, but in standard.
Sure.
But
yeah,
unlikely.
Yeah, very.
We have plummet, so.
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure plummet actually it is in the format. So.
Well, it's good with Swans of Beguile.
Got him.
Bam. Primordial Worm, 4GG76. No words, just a story here in the text box. So
is it the story of how they upgraded Crawworm?
Yeah, so Crawworm is like one of my favorite cards, and I think it was my actual first card, and the first time that I was really playing and like started going to FNM and stuff, in my trade binder I had like my brand new, my first Crawworm, my first Magic card was a Crawworm, and then like a page of the different Crawworms, and like had a bunch of them signed and stuff, and I fucking loved Crawworm, and then that binder got stolen, and I, like, I had like a bunch of cards that are worth something, but the only thing I miss is my Crawworms.
Sure.
So it sucks that it's so absurdly obsolete that it'll never be printed again.
Hey, it at least trades with this card.
It does. It puts up a good fight.
Yeah. on its way out of the...
It's about the best it can do.
Yeah, on its way out the door, it does put up a good fight.
Yeah, good and limited, obviously not constructible. At least they didn't just give us Colossal Dreadmaw for the 4th time.
Yeah, I was going to say, at least the trades are Colossal Dreadmaw.
Yeah, you don't even take any.
Nice.
Sapling mitigation.
Migration.
I can't read.
2 mana, make 2 tokens, or 6 mana, make 4 tokens.
Sure.
2 mana, 2 tokens. 2 mana, 2 tokens sees constructed play.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like 30% of the time. It's a legitimate card.
Yeah, if the sapling keyword is relevant, which it seems to be, there's plenty of things so far that we've seen.
Yeah. And obviously a good rate in limited, especially if you're doing a sapling thing.
I accidentally skipped a couple cards, and I'm lucky I did that. I think this card's good.
You're gonna look into the future, and
I'm gonna make a hot take.
All right.
Right now.
Well, let's go right under it. We'll skip song for now. Spore Swarm is 3G instant, make 3 tokens. Saplings. Yep. So this is clearly something they're pushing, at least for limited.
Yep. Yeah, what I actually saw was the next card, but this totally falls into the same category.
Okay, we'll get to it. Spore Swarm is definitely playable in limited, and if this is a thing in constructed, probably worth playing a couple. Maybe.
Yes.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, we could definitely see a green token deck.
Yes.
I mean, we have Anointed Procession. We've seen like that we've
seen the Voice of Resurgence token legend or whatever.
Yep.
I can't remember the name of that card to save my life, but yeah, the guy who. The more I thought about it, the more I was like, man, he does save himself from a lot of stuff in constructed.
It's a she.
Like, way more so, but sure, whatever. The card protects itself from.
Okay.
Sure. Whatever pronoun that I should use.
There is a character in this set that is non-binary. I don't remember who it is. I think it's a red card, maybe.
I believe you.
Where's this green-white thing?
And that, I mean, it's obviously
Shauna, Sisei's Legacy.
Is that the green-white one?
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah, that card, I mean, we all agreed, we were pretty sure that card was just going to be some kind of good.
Yeah.
And I think that now that we see that there's, like, you know, a green Raise the Alarm style card, you know, there's now a Spore Swarm instant, you know, team in a can or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the card that's right after that, I think we might see some sweet things.
Okay. Halar the Fire Fletcher, the one I is saying in the chat,
okay.
is the non-binary character.
Okay.
Let's do Song before we show off your sick Sapperling tech. 1G Saga. Until 1 and 2, until your next turn, creatures you control gain tap, add 1 mana of any color. 3, put a ++1 counter on each creature you control. Those creatures gain Vigilance, Trample, and Indestructible until end of turn. So this is a tribal card, right? You're playing this in either your Elf deck or your Sapperling deck.
Yes.
And it's for the Elf deck, it's like Cryptolith Rite, and then this shitty Overrun. And for the Sapperlings, it's like all your cards get Convoke is more how those cards play out. And then a pretty good Overrun for them.
Yes.
Right, because your elves are 1 card for 1 creature. Your Sapperling tokens are a better rate than that, so the pump ability scales.
Yes, I agree.
I bet this card's good. I bet this card's playable.
Yeah, I think it definitely goes along with, you know, definitely, as you were saying, a couple of the cards we just looked at, the Sapperling Migration and Spore Swarm, curving that right into this guy, you know, tapping all those dudes to play a 5-drop, and that sounds fine to me. I mean... Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it almost feels like they very clearly just pushed a Sapperling deck into the format.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Here's a couple of, like, uncommons that very clearly play well together. Please try this out. Like, that's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's always a bit weird to me when R&D basically like builds a deck for you. Because on the one hand, it's like, oh, clearly they want me to try this, but on the other hand, it's like being given a jigsaw puzzle with numbered pieces, you know? Like, it takes all the fun out of it. Like, it's already constructed for me. I don't need to spend my time doing this.
Right.
So dinosaurs? Is that what you're saying?
but,
you know, playable.
I mean, to be fair, some people just didn't read the dinosaurs cards. I mean, we watched that happen quite a few times. People just don't read their own dinosaur cards. Like, why would I ever want to deal with damage myself? I don't want to do that.
That is the only way those dinosaurs are playable, is if you nor your opponent know what they do, and you just make it up.
Because that sounds fine.
Then you can give them a good rate.
Yeah. You just, like, pre-release, but with Japanese packs.
Yeah. Short of that, you're gonna have a tough time. Nice. Spore Crown Thallid, a Grizzly Bear Lord. Each other creature you control that's a fungus or sapperling gets +1/+1. And the thing is that the fungus makes sapperlings.
We've never seen this type of effect before, so especially in our bear.
I was gonna say it's weird that it doesn't give Island Walk and also costs blue and say Merfolk instead of fungus or sapperling.
Yeah, but
besides that.
Or sliver, or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, did you know the slivers online, like the sinew slivers, are worth like $2?
That makes total sense.
For Pauper, slivers are playable.
Yeah, of course they are.
They're not good, but they're playable enough that they're worth $2, and I got like 50 of them, because I drafted a lot.
Oh, well, fuck it, let's retire now.
Dude, I know! I was literally last week, I just went to MTG Goldfish and like looked at the Pauper cards, price list, and just like anything that was over $1, I went through my account and like added them. I haven't done the trade yet, but I think I have just like 300 tickets of like draft stock.
So this is a little off topic, but basically what you're just harping on. Like about 2 years ago, I just randomly I was looking through my account for stuff to sell, and I stumbled upon 120 Gentaxian probes.
Yeah, buddy!
Yeah, I was just like, how much are those worth? Oh,
God,
$350 a piece.
Yep.
Wow.
Good thing you shipped them before they got banned.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, around that time, like 2 or 3 years ago, it was like right before. I guess it was longer than that. Wow, it was like 5 or 6 years ago, right before Destructive Revelry got printed. Burn was like a big Burn and Modern. Burn and Affinity were like main players in Modern. So Smash to Smithereens was like a $3 common, and yeah, I had like 50 of them. But I only sold like half of them, and then they printed Destructive Revelry, and they went back down to like 50 cents.
Yep.
Blown out.
Blowouts are real.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, if you open this card, you take it and force, right? Like.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just take 6 Saproling migrations or whatever, and put in the damn work.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Suddenly 6 mana for 4 2/2s. Very good proposition.
Yeah, no kidding. You can like end step this thing and then untap and play this.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
Or this for that matter.
Yeah, play them all. Yeah, play them all.
You can play both of these in the same turn.
It's nice that they just put them all together alphabetically for us, so we couldn't fuck it up.
That is nice.
They're like, did you look at the spoiler? Okay, you can't fuck this up then. You literally read them back to back to back to back. You know what they do. You know they all help each other. Okay, let's do that.
I like it.
Yep.
Steel Leaf Champion. GGG.
GG,
5/4. Steel Leaf Champion can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Now, before I say anything else, I'm going to say, why the fuck isn't this card legendary?
Right?
Like, of all the things
that they want you to play fucking 100 of them, man.
Of all the things that they just put legendary on, they're like, yeah, this fucking giant guy, yeah, he's legendary. Like, yeah, of all of those, this one isn't?
Yeah, I mean, this is part of, I think this is the cycle, right? This is the color 3-drop cycle. It's just
there's a cycle of them?
Yeah, yes. I saw the white one.
I saw the red one, actually, now that you mention it.
Okay,
yeah,
so
they're all just absurd and should be legends, but none of them are, because they push them for that reason.
Yes, they definitely are clearly pushing that cycle to all be good. And this one will be especially good because of Lanois Elves.
I was going to say, I was going to mention Lanois Elves, but I'm on the way other side of the spectrum. I think that this card is terrible, and the only way that it's good is because of Lanois Elves.
I guess I could see that, sure.
I think Woolly Thoktar is like, was always bad and is worse now than before. Why would you want to play a Woolly Thoktar when for 1 more mana you can play a Planeswalker or a God?
Like, I get it, for sure. And I think, well, part of the answer to that question is we can only play, a card in one of our 3 decks, so we'll have to play some other
decks. For Team Unified, but...
right. As far as a direct comparison, I think it's just, it's 2 different decks, you're wanting to do 2 different things, like...
But like if you're building a Lanois Elf deck, by putting this in your deck, you're making it so that you can't play like other good cards that you would want to ramp into.
I mean, realistically, even though it is like a decent card, it's not bad.
I think it's heinous. Like, I'm going out on a limb here. I think this card should not be played.
Well, you could just play Jadelight Ranger. Which is
exactly. And you can if you play Jadelight Ranger instead of this thing, then you get to put Chandra in your deck. You can't put Chandra in your deck with this thing.
Yep. Fair. Good hatch. There is definitely one for blue.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get to the other one because the red one's pretty interesting too. But I think this thing is straight up unplayable.
I think some people will be attacked by this card throughout Standard.
People will try it, and I believe that they will fail.
It could be. They could definitely fail with it. I'm imagining those awkward scenarios again.
Leatherback Baloth came out, and everybody thought it was like insane, like the second coming. Like, how could you print a 4/5 for 3 when 4/4s for 4 are, considered highly playable rares?
Sure.
And then anybody that tried to cast a Leatherback Baloth got absolutely destroyed because their deck didn't do anything.
I think I could definitely be on board part of what you're saying, simply because it fails the Chandra Glorybringer test. Yeah. However, since you can play Lanois into this card and get under those for a couple of turns, I think is what's going to make it.
Dude, I'll take 2 attacks for 5 and then beat you with cards that do something.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm usually on that side of the spectrum also. However,
like I'll take 10 and then I'll Chandra and kill it, and then I'll Glorybringer the next turn, and then I'll Scarab God the turn after that, because I'm just playing all these other cards because my mana's good, because I'm not playing GGG 5/4s.
The only way this thing gets good is if there's something that makes like elves or knights good.
Yeah, this is theoretically something that you're doing in your elf deck. But like it's going tall instead of going wide like the rest of your elves. It makes it so that your scope for mana sinks is greatly narrowed by your color requirements. I think just like all of the checkboxes go against this thing.
Well, it's definitely not something I would put in my constructed deck, but I could see people playing it. Like E said,
I can see people playing with it, but I see those people losing a lot.
Most likely, yes. You mean you'll see the occasional like somebody's doing well with it in their deck, probably because they didn't draw it.
Yeah, exactly. Because they drew Llanowar Elves every game. That's why they're winning, not because of this thing.
Yeah, they cast this on turn 2 because they drew Llanowar Elves.
I definitely agree with that statement. There will obviously be plenty of games won because of Llanowar Elves, not because of the cards that Llanowar Elves cast.
It reminds me of when Mori won. I think it was Worlds. It might have been a GP, but no, I think it was when he won Worlds. If you go back and read the coverage, his coverage throughout the top 8 is like, and Mori on the play has turn 1 Goblin Guide again. So like he wins the tournament and everybody's like, Burn is amazing. It's like, no, Mori just stacked his deck and had this one card that was, the difference between having it on turn 1 and not having it on turn 1 is the difference between a 90% win rate and a 40% win rate.
Yeah.
That was such a not.
If you could start every game with a Goblin Guide in your deck, then everybody should play Burn. But we don't get to do that because we're not Mori.
It's almost like he was not quite a stand-up person.
It's almost like he was just very lucky, and that's the only reason that he got so fortunate in those matches.
Yeah, just super lucky.
Just very lucky, fortunate, very fortunate.
Okay, yep. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Second Awakening, 2G, sorcery. Until your next turn, all lands you control become 2/2 elemental creatures with reach, indestructible, and haste.
Good thing they got reach.
It's weird that there's still lands isn't reminder text. It's rules text.
Yep.
That's a new change. Somebody watching The Office?
Yes.
Yes, there is someone watching The Office nearby.
There's a card that does this, and it was playable, but I think it was only because it was in a combo deck.
Rude Awakening?
Yeah, Rude Awakening was a 1-card combo.
Oh, you're talking about Natural Affinity Massacre.
Yes!
Yeah, Natural Affinity Massacre. Or Force March, Natural Affinity Force March. There was also, a long time ago, there was the old Nature's Revolt Pendulum Mist.
Yes!
Probably before a lot of everybody's time, except for maybe me.
Yeah. Before mine, but I've studied my Magic history.
Hatch probably remembers.
Yeah, he probably does.
Tender Mist, Nature's Revolt. Man, I lost to that deck so much when I was a kid. But yeah, like no, that is interesting that they finally put that indestructible like clause on this type of card. But it's not an instant, which is
it's only like a lot of the combos where like you turn their stuff into creatures and then kill them. This just does the Rude Awakening.
Yeah, that's true. It is only your lands, not theirs. Also, it is basically like Rude Awakening, where it's just one-sided. But historically, these have been like instant speed effects, not sorcery.
Yeah.
You know, like why does it give reach?
Because it says until your next turn. It's not just until end of turn, which is also a little awkward. But
so you can cast it.
Yeah, but like you're just gonna cast this thing and then pass. And like hope to block. Like they just pass back and you. Your things.
That's apparently what they're doing.
Hey, listen, man. Listen, they'll never see it coming. They'll never see it coming.
You're not getting me next turn. Definitely not.
See it coming. Never, ever. Like,
look,
man, I have
the
these
name, like Sylvan Awakening, that definitely sounds like an instant.
Yeah. It's
a real slow.
Looks. Yeah. Nope, just not happening. Alright.
So yeah, the only way that this is anything is if you're combo killing them. Somebody pointed out Jeskai Ascendancy. I don't think that's a thing, but like that's the type of card that you would use with this.
Agree.
Yeah.
Where's the Vigilance? Vigilance is too easy, because if you give it Vigilance and Indestructible and Haste, then it's just free to attack.
Yeah.
They don't generally make things that are 100% free. You usually have to give up something for an option.
Yeah, something. Anything.
Or make a choice.
Yeah, there's got to be some sort of decision involved.
The illusion of choice.
Yeah, the illusion of choice. Territorial Allosaurus. So, dinosaurs are real. 2GG 5/5 dino. Kicker 2G. When it ETBs, if it's kicked, fight.
Sweet limited card, obviously.
Yep, great limited card. One of the few limited cards that's great without just being an auto win.
That's true, actually. Yeah.
This is another Lanois Elf type card, a two-way Lanois Elf type card. I don't think it is constructible. Like in an alternate universe where like there aren't planeswalkers and gods and like. They still made the adjustment away from like hyper efficient removal and counter magic to like creatures and board play. This would be a good card, but that's not the universe we live in.
I mean, it will be in the fall, right?
Maybe.
Or do we not lose enough of them?
Probably not.
I would assume between this set and the next set, even if everything rotated, we'll still have enough like. Over the top play that's over the top of like vanilla creatures.
So the chat is asking why like this is a great limited card, but Steely Paladin is bad in standard. So
yeah, you want to take this one?
Yeah, I can kind of take this one. First, Steely Champion is triple green, which in limited is hard to do. Like generally you're playing a two-color deck. You don't want to like commit to like trying to play this on turn 3 all the time. So green 2 is way easier to cast than green. You're looking at green basically being a 5-drop. And so when you're comparing the two cards, like one of these is going to be easier to cast than the other. Then like Territorial Allosaurus, as the game goes later, is just getting better, whereas this, as the other card, just the game goes better later, it loses its evasion ability and just becomes a 5/4 and then is going to trade with something. Probably their 4. So like you're not getting too much out of Steely Champion, and same thing in Constructed, except way worse. Like you play Steely Champion and Constructed on turn. Even on turn 2, and you're on the draw, they might take 10 damage, but then like they play Chandra and kill it, and you feel terrible, and like, at least if you played the Allosaurus, like, there's a good chance it might live.
Yeah.
But, like...
there's at least upside to it as you go longer. I think that's the most poignant thing you said, is the Allosaurus gets better as the game goes on, and the Steel Leaf Champion gets significantly worse as the game goes on. And constructed games are generally very compact and focused because both players are trying to be extremely mana efficient. Whereas limited games, you don't build your hyper efficient deck, right? You just build out of what you can. So the games are generally more lackadaisical and go longer in those mid to late game types.
Yeah, like I'm not first picking Steel Leaf Champion in most decks.
I'm first picking Territorial Allosaurus though.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I could see first picking Steel Leaf Champion like pack 2 or pack 3 if I have 2 or 3 Landlord Elves already.
Yeah, if I'm already feeling the mono green stompy vibes.
But like, yeah, you're not gonna take a triple green card. Like you're not gonna hard commit. If you just watch any like streamer or person who does any type of draft videos, one of the first things they'll say when they open their first pack is, "I don't want to commit to a color. I'm going to take a land. I'm going to take an artifact. I'm going to take whatever the most safe card is." Because there are a lot of times when you do a draft where you don't even play your first.
You will very often see players pass over multicolor cards for single color cards that are slightly lower power level to keep their draft options open. Something that is, CCC like this might as well be a multicolor card in terms of the difficulty of, the mana symbols in your deck.
Yeah, I mean the card would have to be unreasonably good, which I think one of them might be, but.
Yeah, there's at least one of them.
Some people are asking about that. We'll get to the other ones because we're doing it by color, but. In terms of this one, I would certainly not first pick it, and I don't think it's good and constructed. Right. I totally would first pick this, and I also don't think it's good and constructed, but in a parallel universe, they both could be, We just don't live in that universe.
Yeah, I mean, your point about them playing, like, Hazoret and you playing a 5/5 is a little awkward.
Yeah, it doesn't look great. Not a good look.
Nope.
Thorn Elemental, another reprint, 5GG 7/7. What do they call this ability? There's an R&D name for this ability.
I mean, I've always thought about it as Thorn Elemental's ability, so I don't know.
Me too. And Thorn Elemental's a very good, nostalgic pick.
Oh, it's downgraded too.
Yes, it's uncommon.
Yeah, Thorn Elemental's ability, I think, was the first of its kind.
It was Thorn Elemental and Rocks. Were put at the same time.
I think there was also like maybe an uncommon wolf that did this.
That was later.
Lone
but
Wolf. Yeah. Lone Wolf and Rocks were printed in the same. No.
Thorn Elemental and Rocks were in Saga.
Lone Wolf,
or not Saga. Legacy.
Lone Wolf was in Legacy. I believe Thorn Elemental was in Destiny. And
okay, Rocks was Legacy
Rocks
also.
Was Nemesis.
Oh, Nemesis, you're right.
Yeah, so Lone Wolf was actually the first one of this ability. But the Thorn Elemental was the most memorable as it was the rare.
Yeah. Pride of Lions in starter.
Yeah. Thorn Elemental was the promo that, like, basically everyone had 10 years ago or whatever. Like, if you opened up anybody's trade book, they were like, I have the promo foil Thorn Elemental.
Yeah, and Rocks was the promo of like a portal starter, or something like that. It was a foil promo one. Rocks was like a part of something. And Visodrix. Somebody in the chat said Super Trample. That sounds familiar, but I don't think it's quite right. I don't know. I'll think about it more as we go forward. Obviously not constructible and limited. As long as the format's not fast, it's very good. A 7/7 is going to be able to block pretty much anything and attack for what you hope is the win. Even if it's not chumpable, which you worry about on your huge green creatures late. And if they like team block it to finally kill it, then you can just choose to assign damage normally and wipe out like 4 creatures.
Yeah.
It's either lethal or you're going to get a very profitable trade.
Yes. Which is good because it costs 100 mana.
Right. Because if they don't take the very profitable trade on the first attack, then your second attack is lethal.
Right.
Yeah.
Untamed Kavu, 1G, 2/2. Vigilance Trample. Kicker 3. If Untamed Kavu is kicked, it comes into play with 3 +1/+1 counters on it. So
this is great. This is a great limited card.
So in my day, this card was called Kavu Titan.
Yep.
It didn't have Vigilance or Trample.
Or Trample, yeah.
And it gained Trample when you kicked it, and the kicker was green too. So this is just like a kick in the, like, I guess a kick in the dick is the only way to say it.
Kick in history's dick.
Yeah, come on, man. Like, how are you going to do this to Kavu Titan? So, Kavu Titan was actually really good, too.
Was Kavu Titan like your Crawworm in this scenario?
Sort of. Like, I played a lot of Fires, and that was, like, one of the cards that was techie for Fires, because you could play it on 2 to kill your bird.
So, do you... Sure. If you don't know, the famous story with Kavu Titan is that they were... I don't remember who it was, but it's like, you know, some guys that are in the Hall of Fame now were, like, testing this Stompy deck. It might have been Fires. And, like, they were just crushing everything with it. And then, like, Turian, I want to say, was like, oh, by the way, those Grizzly Bears are Kavu Titan proxies. They were just playing them as Grizzly Bears. And they're like, oh, wow, these are Titans? Awesome. And, like, started winning less. Because they didn't just cast it on 2. Because they tried to get greedy with it. And it was just worse than the worst card.
That's pretty great.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, so this being an uncommon when it's infinitely better than the highly playable rare, not great. Sure. Not a great feeling. But, yeah, this card's great. Probably constructible. I mean, a 2/2 for 2 isn't great, and a 5/5 for 5 isn't great, but either is.
Yeah, you staple them together, and then it actually becomes something
real.
I might want to play.
Yep. Trample is good with the kicked version, and Vigilance is, I guess, only really good with the kicked version. But, again, if creatures matter, then this is good. It gets up to 5, so Glorybringer and Chandra don't kill it. And Trample, especially on a big creature, is actually very good against Planeswalkers. Because a lot of Planeswalkers protect themselves with, like, chump blockers.
I was going to say, if tokens are good, then this card might actually...
Yeah, this card would be, even better, yeah.
Yep, it goes in your Land War Elf deck. Your Stompy deck, because why not?
And I like the throwback to Kavus.
Yeah, Kavus. That's so like I said, I learned the rules and then way later played a pre-release, and I learned the rules, didn't play, pre-release of Onslaught, then didn't play, then started playing again in the middle of Kamigawa block. But that first time when I first learned the rules was like around Invasion, and I had like a Kavu deck. Was like my my like kitchen table deck with my brother and sister. So very happy to see Kavus.
I was gonna say, I bet you had that Kavu Monarch.
Oh yeah, I think I only had like two of the of some of the best Kavus because they were rare. But I had like all 4 Kavu Climbers, you know, because they draw a card. They draw a card that could easily be another Kavu.
Easily, very easily. Kavu Howler, just
that
the
one
goblin,
is legit.
Goblin ringleader of Kavu.
I only have one ringleader guy because those are hard to get your hands on.
Yeah, of course.
Verdant Force, another nostalgic reprint.
Yeah.
5 GGG for a 7/7 at the beginning of each upkeep. Create a 1/1 sapling creature token. Historically, this was reanimated.
Yes.
But
I mean,
they don't really make 1 mana reanimation spells anymore.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, people are at least probably used to this by now by playing against Tendershoot Dryad and losing to that card, so this won't be much different.
Yeah, Tendershoot Dryad was a callback to this.
Exactly.
And it's kind of cute that even the sapperlings might matter, that they're sapperlings.
Yes.
Definitely matters.
This thing is really good in Momer Basic. Alright, moving on. Wild Onslaught. 3G, instant. Put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. If the spell was kicked for 4, put 2 +1/+1 counters on each creature you control instead.
Yeah, I'm not... I mean, I guess if you're trying to do the whole sapperling thing, I don't know.
But, like, it's so hard to... like, this card looks like it should have Convoke, but it doesn't.
Yeah, you're never kicking it.
Yeah.
It is so many mana.
The kicker is way too much on this card.
Yeah, probably should have been like Kicker 2.
I get why they did it.
Yeah, well, Kicker 2 would have just been Strength of the Pack, right?
Yep. Yeah. But, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, sure.
Yeah, they can't really do that. It has to be 7.
So it'd have to be, like, Kicker 3, and even then, like...
People are going to play this thinking that it's, like... Fail case is a decent combat trick, and its win case is overrun. But its fail case is actually, like, you just die, because...
Because your 1/1s turn into 3/3s.
Because you can't take a turn off to play it early, and like if you attack your 2/2 into their 2/3 and then spend 4 mana to put a +1/+1 counter on it, like you're not pumping the fist at that exchange.
There are games where you would cast like the Battle Growth card and be like, oh well, this was just not good.
Right.
This thing costs 4 mana.
Yeah,
and
it's a big ask.
To be a Battle Growth.
It is a big ask.
It is a really big ask. Let's go to the last card.
Yavimaya Safherd, not a shepherd. Safherd. 2G for a 2/2 fungus. When it ETBs, put a ++, or put a 1/1 green sapling creature token. So it's like the Jade whatever.
It's the 3 mana creature that makes a creature.
Yeah.
They're generic at this point. It's like 3 mana, 2/2, or 2/1, or whatever, 1/2 makes something. You know, we've seen it at the Cellar of Songbirds and stuff. Like, regardless, like this thing is good. I mean, it makes a sapperling, which we could see is obviously good. 3 mana, 2/2, that's fine. Like, yeah, this is something I'll put in every one of my limited decks for all time.
Yep.
And
it'll range from quite good to like spectacular if it's like the sapperling theme deck, and in your non-sapperling theme deck, it's only like a very hyper efficient card. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this crept into constructed. It's probably like just outside. If you think of like this type of effect that makes it constructed, I think of Catacomb Sifter, and this thing is no Catacomb Sifter, but
fair.
It's it does a similar thing in some of the game types, and has these tribal synergies. Maybe might be a thing. People are saying Sapherd instead of Sapherd, which I guess makes sense, because you're like a sapperling herder. Sapherd?
Sure, man.
It does. I mean, the way, I guess I would say Sapherd as well, because it even says, when you have my Sapherd, say P-H-E-R-D.
Sarpadian Empires Volume 3. Flavor text. That's very nice.
Callback.
And we're done with green.
Excellent.
Red.
R.
Bloodstone Goblin, 1R 2/2. Whenever you cast a spell